अच्छा मुझे बुधन को नहीं क्यों जाते सर
बस
ये बड़ा हाँ घुमाए अलग राकेश
वो बता दिए और कोई
जब से तूने दिया अल्लाह वाला
Hello. Oh, yes, yes. Shukriya, Talib and Rakesh for working with me. Salam and greetings. Always delightful to have all of you here. And by way of introduction, I am Faima Devi, the additional curator here at the Mursaleen Family. In fact, we were listening to Rakesh on the tabla, who also works with us here at Mahatma, and we discovered his talent and we're doing our rehearsals for our panel discussion. So, thank you. So, welcoming you to Suroor-e Ishq, unpacking the lineages of the art of Unani and Ayurveda healing systems. We are honored to have Muhammad Talib Saab, who plays the dambur, a three-stringed instrument made of shisham, which is Indian rosewood, and the top portion of it is made out of imli, tamarind wood. And he has been playing the dambur, an instrument which is associated with Shah Abdul Latif, for the last almost 3 decades. So since he was approximately 15, you can do the math. So here we have Hakim and Mursaleen, Mursaleen, right behind me, actually, kind of awkward. And he practices United medicine in Karachi as a registered herbalist, Hakim or Talib, and has in fact also earned his interdisciplinary doctorate from Charles Church University, Australia, just this year. So I'd be glad to have you with us. And then, of course, Lookman, an artist who will be sharing her most recent project, which she did for the Istanbul Biennale this September 2022. It's called New Logo, and that's the French name for Lotus. And Maria has a BFA from NCA. Then she went on to do her master's in Australia, in London. And then deeper from the Ruskin School of Art at Oxford. And she divides her time between Goa, Sri Lanka, as well as Karachi. So over to you, Maria.
And this is, perils of being my side. Thank you everyone for coming. I see many familiar faces. Thank you for making it happen. And I'd like to thank my host, Talib, thank you for organizing this. So I dive straight in because we have to, keep it concise so that we have more time for questions. And I hope if at any point there's something I'm missing or you have a question, I'm happy to be interrupted. So could we have the next slide? I think we need to maybe bring the light. Are we able to see the slide? I think we need to bring the light, please. और वो प्रोजेक्टर का फोकस ही देखें प्लीज शायद हाँ शायद उसकी जरूरत नहीं है फोकस ही देखें while we faff around with technology, I can start by relating how I came onto this project. At the end of 2019, 2020, I got a phone call, which was a wonderful surprise. I thought it was a social, but it ended up as an invitation to participate in the Istanbul Biennial. Initially, I thought it was a bit of a joke because, it's just like, you don't get these random, not random, but, you don't get these phone calls. At least I don't. And the other beauty with my invitation was that it was an open invitation to do anything I wanted, provided it was meaningful to me. So this was a difficult task, even though it was a complete open invitation. And for all of us, these memories are fresh. 2019, we were still emerging out of the worst of 20. Sorry, this is 2020. In 2021, we were coming out of COVID, and it was a time where many of us were thinking about things. Health became a priority. It has been a priority for me for a very long time as well. In ways which where I have invested a lot of time thinking about what it means to be well, what it means to be well and in balance. And since I live in Gaul as my home now, in my vicinity where I live, we have the story where I live in Unawatuna, and Unawatuna in Sinhala means where the rock fell. And the rock that fell was the rock, the bits of the Himalaya that Hanuman was carrying back from Kashmir during the battle of, with Ravana, right? When they were battling to get to Sita. And the amazing thing is, we have the next slide. So we have, this is popular imagery of Hanuman, carrying the peace of the Himalayas. And so while this is popular in imagination, the fact is that these hymns all over Sri Lanka have a microclimate. And that microclimate means that very specific herbs grow there, which are not found elsewhere. Could we have the next slide? And so, I use that as a springboard. Right? How do we look at something through a long arc of history, and what can we tell us today of our contemporary world, where we have a lot of focus on, we have the pandemic, we all know that the earth is also quite unwell, and an unwell earth means, another way of describing it is we have ecological disaster. We have floods. Pakistan is on the front line of this sort of disaster which is unfolding. And so I go back to the books, and what I learned through this process is one of the oldest books in Ayurveda were written by, so it was an oral tradition, right, coming from the Vedas, and then it becomes encoded in text. And the writing of it first began in what is Taxila in Pakistan. And the person who the first compilation is attributed to, his name was Charaka. So these are just imaginary paintings of Charaka, if you go back to the previous slide. So if you see they're painted in Mughal style, even though Charaka is, 500 BC, so he didn't look like a Mughal king. And then, so we have Charaka, right? And, if you see the translations, it very clearly says it's predominantly these texts are based on therapeutics. They are on cure, they are on prevention. Next slide, please. And then along with Charaka Samhita, we have this other one called Sushruta Samhita, which is combined in the other school of medicine which existed in the ancient world, which is in Varanasi, Banaras. So again, if you see, this is Dr. Kaviraj, who in 1916 was part of this group of Indian physicians who thought it was time to translate some of these texts into English. And they're quite unapologetic. Right? So when we think of what is the scientific tradition on which is based, the Enlightenment Project or the project of, the civilization project of the colonialists, it is that the East and the rest of the world don't have a scientific tradition. They are mired in superstition and ritual. And so this translation, this is the excerpt from the preface, and it very clearly says that just because we invoke prayer, that doesn't mean we are not scientific. Right? What does it mean? If you look at the next slide, please. I'm just giving a snapshot of the contents, and if we look, right, it says the disease of the eyelid, the disease of the eyelid, and it goes on and on and on. And these documents, these books are, in hundreds and thousands of pages, right? And in each translation, there will be more translation than there is commentary. And on the other hand, again, you have these paintings that keep emerging, right? You have these paintings which are 19th century paintings, but again, they looking back at that kind of practice. So then I started to look at the map, right? So if you think, okay, so the right top is where the Dongarari hills are interceded, then you have Taxila, have the Billing River, then you have Varanasi, and then you have Goa. If you look at the map and the geographical distance, then you begin to realize that, what the textbooks will tell you in terms of geography, map, region, local, again, it puts into question when you look at the map, right? Because you would think, was the ancient man really traveling all these distances, but clearly they were. So next slide, please. And so we now run to Istanbul, right? And so my proposal to my team in Istanbul was that I would like to bring something of the tropics, of the idea of paradise, but through Ayurveda, and can we build a medicine garden or have a conversation with something to do with medicine in Turkey. And much to the surprise of my team, my host, we discovered a garden that was in existence in Istanbul. It was set up by Dr. Day, and about 20 years ago. So it was founded by a group of botanists who were interested in reviving plant medicine. And as a teaching facility, and they agreed to be our hosts. If you go to the next slide. And for those, many of us here will be familiar with Istanbul. Istanbul is very built up, right? It's probably one of the most concrete dense parts of the world. To find a green space is a challenge in itself, plus the given politics of Turkey, like Pakistan is, everything is grabbed by the real estate developers. So for something to survive as a medicinal plant garden is in itself, quite a feat. And so they agreed, join up with us. But the way this was found is that the medicinal plant garden at Istanbul is surrounded by cemeteries. And the garden itself is a form of cemetery. It was part of the cemetery which was dedicated to fallen soldiers. So there were unmarked graves and unclaimed bodies. And so normally such cemetery spaces are taken over and converted into a shopping mall or some such. And in this case, so this was the surrounding. So on the left is a Coptic cemetery, on the right is a Muslim cemetery. And so the cemeteries are again based on religions. So you have Islam, you have Armenian, Syrian, Coptic. Next slide. And much to my delight, the other neighbor in this area is one of the oldest Nehemiahs in Istanbul, which is Nehemiah, which is in Zeytinburnu. And again, this, if you look at the reservation and we feel that they're continuing the work, of this 15th century saint who was born there. Next slide. I was conscious that I didn't want to plonk something specifically from Sri Lanka. I was looking for some sort of contact or synergy. And so while I was on my research trip, what struck me was, so this is an image of the Rustam Pasha Mosque, which is built by Mir Sinan. So if you look, it's The mosque is famous for its beautiful intricate tile work. If you look, all the patterns are in filigree, but what struck me are the two gold flowers. And I think, what are those gold flowers? Next slide, please. And then, we start looking and I think it's a lotus. Next slide, please. And then you see other buildings. So if you walk around old Istanbul, you see water fountains, and the water fountains are also adorned by the lotus flower symbols. So this is the old water fountain of Üsküdar, which is in the Asian part of Istanbul. Next slide. And then, so it's very specific, right? When you see these lotus patterns in a temple, for example, it's all over use, like we have in the filigree of the insect tile. But these are quite specific, and that's why I started noticing them. Next, please. So if you look, you recognize, right? You look at the flower, you look at the roses, and it's a different configuration. This is again the cemetery next to the shrine. Next, please. And then there was a very, very famous Sufi master, and this is his tomb, which is separate. And again, you see the lotus appear. So it's not like it's all over a bunch of flowers. It's very specific. So I started looking into what does that mean? Where does it come from? Is it just a coincidence? Is it just design? So I decided for myself it can't be coincidence and it's not just design. It's another one from a water fountain, which is painting. Next, please. I turned back to another book of Ayurveda, which is the Veda Samhita. And the amazing thing about the Veda Samhita is it lists, medicine plants. When you look into the list of medicine plants, you're like, okay, not all of them are medicinal, the expanse, because looking at these plants are also great, So, for example, the one that's not there, that's Ayurveda, right? And it's available in so many parts of the world, from South Africa, South America, to South Asia. Next, please. There's coriander, there's the Indian and the Chinese chestnut, right? So when you think Ayurveda is Hindu or Indian, or what's the geography of all these things? It challenges us. Next, please. And so then we see in these books, you again have the lotus listed. So that's the Nymphaea alba, which is from the lotus, not quite, but again it's a water plant. And then you have the Nelumor lucifera, which is also the sacred lotus, which is what the title of my project I took it on as. Next, please. Okay. The other thought that I had in mind while we were thinking of this project is, in Sri Lanka, Ayurveda might be alive and well, but music is dead. So, what do we take back? What do we have as an exchange? And so I started collaboration with Halim on the right, Kanaki on the left. One plays the Istanbul Kamanche, the other one plays the Chang. Again, I wanted to work with musicians that were playing old instruments, not the age of the instrument, but like old instruments. So the Chang goes back to the Assyrians. The Istanbul Kamanche is very much a product of Istanbul. And so we had a planting ceremony at the start of our project. So this is the image from